tonight about Cleveland Water's billing practices and alleged discrimination. We first reported those initial findings by the NAACP's Legal Defense Fund last month. And 5 on your side, Chief Investigator Ron Regan joins us. And Ron, you now have obtained the full details of this report.
Well, this is the 104-page report, plus a letter to the city calling the city's response both incorrect and misleading.
We have to stop the harm here.
The NAACP Legal Defense Fund found Cleveland Water's policies and practices discriminatory, especially the use of tax liens.
The policy and practice of using liens to attach to burden people's properties is having a disparate impact on black communities in Cleveland. That is, it is having a discriminatory effect on the communities.
Plus, Sparky Abraham with the Legal Defense Fund says the Water Review Board for billing disputes just doesn't work.
They get very, very few even requests to have a hearing before the board. And of those requests, they might get 15,000 complaints in a year. In that year, they might only get 100 or 200 requests for a hearing. And then of those 100 or 200 requests, they might only end up having 30 hearings.
So far, the city's only response has been this press release claiming tax liens are a last resort. The Legal Defense Fund calls that incorrect and misleading, finding more than 11,000 in just a 4-year period. And its letter seeking a meeting with City Council is being ignored. What have you heard back?
I haven't heard back anything yet.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Not a phone call?
Not a phone call.
Not a letter?
Nothing in response to this letter, no.
This final report calls the News 5 investigative team instrumental with uncovering years of questionable policies and practices by Cleveland Water.
The stories that you elicited from Cleveland residents were extremely helpful, and just the reporting that you did really kind of did a deep dive into the process for a lot of these things that, really made our job a lot easier.
And this final report issued today concludes litigation may be viable and appropriate.
And, we address litigation as another possibility. Obviously, I would much prefer if Cleveland Water changed their practices, but, I think that there should be a worry that they might actually be violating a law and they might be liable for it.
And so far, only Councilman Mike Polensek has reached out to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund expressing concerns over those findings. I'm Chief Investigator Ron Regan.